I really don't know where to start with this one. It's Christmas Day. I've just watched a bunch of goblins who were trying to steal a baby. Okay, look, we're not going to get into that just yet because I've got to say that this video is going to contain spoilers for the church on Ruby Road. What was it like? What was going on? Have I just drunk too much because it's Christmas Day? I should say as well, I've had a cold for the past week and I'm very tired and I've not been sleeping, so the whole thing could have been just a fever dream for all I know. Let's find out beyond the sofa. Before we start properly, I just want to mention this. As tonight's episode was airing, we learnt of the sad death of Richard Franklin. Richard left a lasting impression on Doctor Who, and his character Mike Yates was a firm favourite. His passing is a profound loss to the Doctor Who community, and his memory will continue to live on through the beloved character that he brought to life in the show. Rest in peace, Richard. And as the Doctor once said, some people live more in 20 years than others do in 80. It's not the time that matters, it's the person. Anyway, on with the video. The Church on Ruby Road is Ncuti Gatwa's first full-length episode of Doctor Who, and right from the off, something is going wrong for our new companion, Ruby. We see her life. She's an orphan, a foundling, and appearing on a TV show with none other than Davina McCall. And Doctor Who's quite good when it does things like this. Davina does host a show where she tries to find people's birth parents, and it grounds the episode in the real world. It's not just a character in a TV show anymore. It's a character living a life that gets affected by the same real world events that we do as well. This interaction is also really nice in a way to introduce the character. I will talk a lot about exposition when it's done wrong, but this is exposition done right. You have a reason for Ruby to be saying the things that she's saying. The audience is learning what they need to know, but it doesn't feel like the plot has stopped just to give it some information. So we learn about Ruby's life. We also get to see a montage, much like we do with Rose, that really introduces us to her as a character. We also see the Doctor at this point observing what's going on, catching her drink when she's about to drop it. And here we set up the central problem of the episode, that Ruby is more clumsy than she should be. And that's what's caught the Doctor's attention. What's going on? Obviously, we get hints about what that is by hearing of the goblins laughing and seeing their hands as they set up elaborate traps that'll make things fall over and hurt people. But we don't really know at this point exactly what it is. We do, however, get a great introduction to the Doctor. The nightclub scene, which did feel a little out of character in the trailer, actually fits in here really well. And we get to see the Doctor save the day, save a woman from a falling snowman, and have a chat with a policeman. In those moments, we actually get to see the Doctor's character start to shine through. And that was the one moment in this episode which really left me grinning. And if there's one thing that you can say about Ncuti and Millie, they are perfect for their parts. And they've got a really nice on-screen chemistry that I think is only going to grow as the series progresses. After this lovely moment with the Doctor, we're back with Ruby and introduced to her family. Again, this is a Russell T Davies staple, and it's done really well here. These soap opera moments just really shine when he's writing them. And in fact, it's almost unfair to call them soap opera moments, even though that's basically what they are. The level of competence that you get in a Russell T Davies script is second to none. Yes, there are occasional missteps, but they're often not worth even mentioning because of the quality of the rest of the writing. So introduced to Ruby's foster mum and grandmother, we're told that they're expecting a foster baby in just a few minutes. And this is the child that then gets kidnapped by the goblins, and where the Doctor and Ruby meet properly for the very first time. The next chunk of the episode is basically set on board the Goblins' flying boat. And if you saw the trailer, the Goblin song, you'll have seen most of this stuff before. We're introduced to rope technology. So this is where we're basically introduced to magic. But like Thor and Battlefield before it, this episode treats that magic as a different form of technology that the Doctor has to figure out. It's nice because this is another one of those character moments that gives the audience a lot of information about a character very, very quickly. For someone jumping into the series from here, they're going to get a sense of who the Doctor is and what he's capable of. And at this point, what he's capable of is saving the baby from a horde of goblins and the Goblin King. Hey, it is Christmas after all. Of course, there's going to be goblins. And they're incredibly well done as well. They've used similar technology to the Meep in order to animate some of the faces here, and performers in costume are providing the other part of the equation. The final effect is like the Muppet Show on steroids, expertly performed and enhanced by CGI magic that really bring these creatures to life. I know the song has been out there for some time, but I had such a blast seeing it on TV properly. So the Doctor saves the baby, saves the day, only to be faced with a bigger conundrum when he realises that Ruby has disappeared. The sneaky goblins have travelled back in time, sort of, and stolen Ruby as a baby. Can the Doctor save her life? Well, of course he can, because it's Christmas. There's a very nice Chekhov's gun moment here as well. We're introduced to the Doctor's new gravity gloves early in the episode, and here he uses them to great effect to pull the ship down onto the spire of the church and impale the Goblin King. I won't lie, this had me thinking of the great vampire in State of Decay as he was doing it. So Ruby is saved. We don't get to see who her mother is, but that is left as a question for another day. And of course, Ruby decides to run after the Doctor and onto the Tardis, giving us that companion's first look around the ship that we've come to know and love. The end! Or is it? Because there's also a little question left over. Who is Mrs. Flood, and how does she know what a Tardis is? Well, I'm sure we'll find out eventually, and I'm not going to speculate about that because I'd rather come at it as a surprise. I've already had people suggesting that it's the Master and the Rani and the Monk. Ultimately, it doesn't matter until it's revealed, but it was a nice bit of two-camera piece, and it's a nice mystery for people to fight over until we find out for sure. If it sounds like this was a fairly abrupt ending, well, that's because it kind of is, and much of the show is rather abrupt as well. I got to the end of this and I didn't think that we'd spent an episode with the new Doctor, and I think that that's left this episode in the fair to middling category. Now, I should say I don't usually get on well with the Christmas specials. I like having them, I like watching them, but I always find them ultimately unsatisfying. And this one is no different. With the script, you're always trying to balance the good story with the good character dynamics and the good but understated theme. But here, the character elements of the script last for a good 20 minutes of the episode, and that's 20 minutes where there's no real plot happening. Now, this can work very well in some cases, but here it does feel a bit off. And I've seen some people say that the plot felt thin or that the pacing is off. Well, this is why. And there are only a certain number of levers that you can pull to help give a script its pacing. Getting on with the plot is one of them, and I would have expected to see some sort of major event around about the 6-minute mark instead. What we do get is a snowman falling, but this turns into another character moment for the Doctor. When we do finally get to the plot bits, it's all slowed down by the song. And you know, I'm not adverse to having the song there. I liked the song. I'd be happy to have a full musical episode. But what it really needed was for that plot to start pushing along a little bit earlier. And I have heard that the snowman scene was a late addition at the request of Disney. Now, I liked that scene a lot, but if it wasn't in there, we would have lost about 3 minutes, and that might have just tightened everything up a little bit. Maybe enough for it to not feel quite so front-heavy. One thing that I think could have made a difference was for the Doctor to have to solve another problem before being able to pull the Goblin ship down. It's not that this moment feels unearned as such, but the resolution does seem to be over far, far too quickly. Where were the Goblins realising what was happening and starting to throw things at the Doctor that he had to dodge? Or where were the gloves not working so he had to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow? Those last-minute hurdles that the hero has to overcome not only heighten the drama, but also showcase the Doctor's ingenuity and resourcefulness under pressure. It's these moments of quick thinking and clever problem solving that really define the character of the Doctor. But for everything I've said here, there really was an awful lot to like as well. The effects were brilliant, and they've pumped so much into showing us a horde of goblins, it makes you wonder what was going to be in store for the actual season. The character work was fabulous, and even Davina McCall slotted in really nicely, which can be a really difficult thing to do with any celebrity appearance. Ncuti and MIllie are phenomenal. Their on-screen presence shines through and makes you want to see more of them, and we've had several new and interesting things set up that may or may not come back. We'll just have to wait and see. Ultimately, the church on Ruby Road was a bit of a mixed bag, with a thin plot but some lovely character moments and a central dynamic that I think is going to build into one of the best Tardis teams we've seen since the show returned. I'm really looking forward to what's coming up next year, and I hope you are too. That's it for this video. Why not continue the conversation in the comments below? And until next time, I'll see you beyond the sofa.